What is going on, guys? It's another video from Hazmat Trucker, and today, again, I just wanted to talk about a reoccurring theme that I've seen recently, which is trucking is not a healthy lifestyle or a healthy career choice. And while that's true in some aspects, here's the reality. Most jobs are not healthy for you. Whatever career field you're choosing, whether it's trucking or something else, there are going to be aspects of that career field that are not healthy for you. And for the sake of this video, I'm talking about physical health, okay? Mental health and emotional health. That'll be a different video. Yes, parts of trucking and certain sectors of trucking are less healthier than others, as with every other career field, okay? Here's another reality. Your job, your employer is not responsible for your health decisions. They're responsible for keeping you safe as well as they can within whatever sector you're in or whatever career field you're in, according to OSHA standards, right? But ultimately, your health, your physical health, that is completely on you. That is your responsibility. And I know I'm going to get a bunch of hate, right? And if you guys want to go down in the comments section below and explain why, it's totally fine for you to live it up and not care about your diet and die at 55 from a heart attack or have nothing but a litany of health issues that come along from not caring about your physical health, that's fine. We can have that discussion in the comments section. But ultimately, no one kidnapped you and forced that Twinkie or that fried chicken or whatever unhealthy food that we all eat as truckers down your throat, right? You chose to eat that food. You chose to not work out. You chose to not go to the doctor. Those were all choices you made. So ultimately, when I hear people say trucking isn't a healthy lifestyle, it's a cope. I think it's a cope and a justification to not care about your health and to just put it off and to be as lazy as possible. If you disagree with me, again, put it in the comment section down below. But I'm going to get into 3 reasons why I think that is, okay? So the first thing is time management. Most people, the vast majority of people, not just in trucking, and none of what I'm going to say is exclusive to trucking. It can apply to any career field, all right? And I used to make these excuses myself, all right? But the first thing is time management. Everybody sucks at managing their time well, or the vast majority of people do, okay? And so what do I mean by that? They'll use however many hours a week that they work, including myself when I used to work 65, 70 hours a week on a regular basis for years on end. Oh, well, there's not enough hours in the day. I get done with work and I have time to eat dinner and shower and I have to go back to bed. Not true. Even if you're working 65, 70 hours a week, like I did for years on end, once I started developing those habits of managing my time well, meaning I'm making sure that, I'm not actually just scrolling social media or checking out YouTube videos when I actually have the spare time to be working out or at least going on a walk, bare minimum, or planning my meals ahead of time so that I don't have to stop in and get fast food or any other truck stop food. I was wasting a lot of time, right? And most people do. They waste a ton of time instead of managing it to the point where if you're taking your health seriously, you have the hours in the day, even if you're working 70 hours a week. And I know because I did it. Once I got disciplined enough, I did it to where I was still getting 8 hours of sleep. I was going to work. I came home from work. I cooked myself dinner. I was able to work out for 30 minutes to an hour, get myself ready for the next day, and then go to bed, get 8 hours of sleep, and repeat, right? And yeah, aside from that, you're not going to have a lot of time for your free time, right? Especially if you're working 70 plus hours a week. You're not going to have a lot of free time. But you still do have enough time to prioritize your health. And that's the whole point. And if you don't want to prioritize your health, hey, that's your choice. And ultimately, there are going to be consequences, especially as you get older, for that choice. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. And just don't complain about it, right? Especially when you do have those health consequences later. The next thing is your self-control over your diet, right? Most people, including myself in the past, would just use any and every justification to not meal prep, not stay away from fast food or just general truck stop food, when in reality it just boils down to a few things, okay? That's number one, calories in, calories out. You need to keep track of how many calories you're eating per day. And then so long as you have a caloric deficit, meaning you expend more calories than you bring in, and you're working out on a regular basis, you will lose weight and you will be healthier than most people. Okay, I think it's 70 something percent of Americans are overweight. All right, not acceptable unless you want to live a much shorter life. The next thing is staying away from highly processed or fried foods, and this involves prepping your meals, or packing a lunch every single day, and so that you're not tempted to go and buy the fast food. And ultimately, if you do this right, you're actually going to also not only get healthier, but you're also going to save a huge amount of money if you do this properly. And I won't get into details in this specific videos. If you guys want me to do a specific video about that, let me know. But there's a ton of videos already out there on how to meal prep. So if you do those two things, if you keep track of your calories and you make sure you're in a caloric deficit or near one, and you're staying away from highly processed or fried foods, you're going to be much better than the vast majority of people. That's reality. And then the last thing that I think it breaks down to is why people want to use, trucking's a unhealthy lifestyle as a cope, is they don't have the self-discipline to be able to work out, right? And again, if you manage it goes back to time management. If you manage your time well, you will have, even as somebody who is on the road, I did regional, didn't do over the road myself, but I worked very similar hours and I managed my clock well when I was in regional work and when I did 70 plus hours a week, even locally. It's not about having gym equipment in your truck, although you can do that too, or you can get a gym membership like Planet Fitness that's pretty much everywhere and it's pretty cheap. Those are easy solutions. It's also just about having the discipline to get out and walk. That's the easiest and simplest thing to start with. You don't have to go in immediately to powerlifting, and I recommend you don't, especially if you don't work out on a regular basis. Just go for a walk. Go for a 10-minute walk, then the next day a 15, then a 20-minute walk, then a 30-minute walk. And you have time to do that even if you're over the road or even if you're working 65, 70 hours a week. You have the time for that. It's just about being active and getting your blood flowing. And ultimately, ideally, you should prioritize your health to where maybe instead of just doing over the road or regional where you're sitting all the time, or jobs or even LTL, even those guys are local, but they sit a hell of a lot. And that's ultimately why I decided not to go into it, among other reasons. But within my job, I wanted to choose something that was more active so that not only it was easier to stay awake while driving, especially on night shift, but also it's something that got my blood flowing and kept me a little bit active. Now, in the past, I have done things as extreme as food service. I did food service with Cisco, and as a example, 70 to 80% of your weight is just based on what you eat. When I was at Cisco, I was running constantly, and I'm not talking walking, I mean running up and down a ramp constantly to try and get my route done as quickly as possible with hundreds of pounds on my little dolly. Okay, I only lost about 5 pounds when I was doing that job. And why was that? It's because I wasn't keeping track of my calories, and my diet was kind of crap, to be honest. I was still eating a lot of processed foods. I was replacing the same, if not slightly more calories every single day when I got home from work, to where I didn't really lose that many pounds. So ultimately, if you don't have the discipline to work out, I get it. I hope you do. But at the very least, please clean up your diet. Because if you clean up your diet, you're still going to be way better off, even if you never work out a day in your life, than most people. You're going to still avoid most of the health consequences of the typical truck driver simply by just cleaning up your diet. So at the very least, please do that. There's too many videos going around of truck drivers having to be pulled out of their truck later on, or fairly early on in their lives, because they didn't take care of their health, they didn't prioritize it at all, they didn't ever care about their diet, and they didn't work out either. They didn't ever get to enjoy the fruits of their labor, even if they did financially well for themselves. I don't want to see any more of those videos, and hopefully this has convinced you to at least consider changing your diet and getting more active as a truck driver or in any other career field. So that being said, again, if you guys disagree with me or agree with me, you can put it in the comment section down below. And if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. God bless.